Friends, everyone aspires to become rich, yet most people struggle to achieve this goal. If you've ever wondered why this happens, you're in the right place. Today, we'll discuss one of the world's best-selling books, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, authored by Robert Kiyosaki. This remarkable book imparts excellent lessons in money management. By listening to this audio summary, you'll gain insights into how to earn money and where and how to spend it wisely. What is it that wealthy individuals teach their children about money, which poor and middle-class parents fail to do? How to make money and how to use it are not subjects taught in schools or colleges. This might be why the rich keep getting richer, while the poor continue to struggle. Middle-class families often find their lives revolving around paying off loans. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that money represents power, but financial education is an even greater form of power. While money may come and go, understanding how it works can allow you to control it and begin building wealth. Most of us inherit our knowledge of money from our parents, but what can parents who are financially struggling teach their children? They often say, go to school, study diligently, and get a good job. Yet, even after excelling academically, the mindset and understanding of money often remain akin to those of someone who is financially disadvantaged. The biggest shortcoming of our current education system is the lack of financial literacy in its curriculum. If you wish to understand what truly sets the wealthy apart from the poor, be sure to listen to this summary until the very end. Before diving into the summary of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, let's take a moment to learn about its author, Robert Kiyosaki. Who is Robert Kiyosaki? Robert Kiyosaki, a Japanese American, was born on April 8, 1947, in Hawaii. He is a renowned businessman, author, and investor from the United States. Kiyosaki is the founder of Rich Global LLC and the Rich Dad Company. The Rich Dad Company specializes in financial education, offering personal finance and vocational training through its books and videos. Globally recognized for his ideas on wealth creation, Robert Kiyosaki has authored several books, with Rich Dad, Poor Dad being the most popular. It has been featured as a bestseller in the New York Times Magazine. The book Rich Dad, Poor Dad has garnered appreciation from 95% of readers worldwide. In addition to this bestseller, Kiyosaki has penned more than 25 books on investment and business, many of which are widely available. Why should you read Rich Dad, Poor Dad? Rich Dad, Poor Dad isn't just any book. After reading it, you'll probably find yourself wondering why you hadn't read it sooner. The book deserves all the praise it receives. Based on Robert Kiyosaki's personal experiences, it delivers exceptional insights into managing money. Over 46 million copies of Rich Dad, Poor Dad have been sold across the globe. Given its immense popularity, the book has been translated into more than 50 languages. Since it delves deeply into understanding money, I believe that everyone, no matter their profession, should read it at least once in their lifetime. If you're a student, this book could be especially valuable. In school or college, we are taught only the standard syllabus. I assure you, this book will transform how you perceive money. The book Rich Dad, Poor Dad does not promise quick riches but emphasizes the importance of developing financial literacy to achieve wealth. Let's dive into the key highlights of the book's summary. In this work, author Robert Kiyosaki shares the stories of his Rich Dad and Poor Dad. You might wonder how one person could have two fathers. Actually, Robert referred to his biological father as his Poor Dad and his friend Mike's father as his Rich Dad. Robert's biological father, his Poor Dad, was a well-educated, intelligent man with a PhD who worked as a teacher. In contrast, his Rich Dad hadn't even completed the 8th grade. Despite their vastly different educational backgrounds, both were successful in their careers, worked hard, and earned substantial incomes. However, one constantly faced financial struggles, while the other went on to become one of Hawaii's wealthiest individuals. Many of us receive financial guidance from people who have battled financial difficulties their whole lives. You've likely noticed how some individuals offer financial advice as if they possess all the knowledge in the world. Now consider this: if you were to seek advice from two people, one earning $1,000 per month and the other earning $10,000 per month, whose advice would be more valuable to you? Most would agree that the insights of the person earning $10,000 would likely be more helpful. Robert considers himself fortunate to have had two fathers, one poor and the other rich, which allowed him to choose between two opposing viewpoints, one shaped by a poor person and the other by a wealthy person. For example, poor dad often said, "The love of money is the root of all evil," whereas rich dad believed, "The lack of money is the root of all evil." Poor dad would remark, "I can't afford it," but rich dad would counter with, "How can I afford it?" While one is a definitive statement that ends further thought, the other is a question that compels the mind to find solutions. Rich dad believed that saying, "I can't afford it," was a sign of mental laziness. Poor dad's advice was, "Study hard so you can secure a good job at a reputable company," while rich dad encouraged, "Study hard so you can own a reputable company." Poor dad explained his lack of wealth by saying, "I'm not rich because I have kids to support," whereas rich dad argued, "I must become rich because I have kids to support." While poor dad advised avoiding risks and playing it safe with money, rich dad encouraged learning how to manage risks effectively. By the time Robert was just 9 years old, he decided to follow only the guidance of his rich dad and pursue the path he outlined. This decision marked the beginning of Robert's journey of financial education, during which he absorbed valuable lessons from his rich dad that would later pave the way for his wealth. In this audio summary of Rich Dad Poor Dad, we will delve into the key lessons that Rich Dad imparted to Robert. Lesson 1: The rich don't work for money. Let's start with a brief story. A man owns a donkey, and whenever he wants the donkey to work harder, he dangles a carrot in front of it. The donkey, seeing the carrot, works tirelessly, believing it will reach the reward someday. However, the carrot is merely a trick, and the poor donkey never gets it. For the man, the carrot is a clever way to keep the donkey working. Most people live like that donkey, working endlessly day after day with the dream of becoming rich one day. Yet, for many, money remains just an illusion, and true wealth eludes them. If you want to achieve wealth, don't work for money, instead, make money work for you. The moment we take the first step toward becoming wealthy, fear and greed often start to control us, particularly the fear of staying poor. In this chapter, the author discusses individuals who avoid risks because they've never learned how to manage them. These people are perpetually afraid of failing to repay loans, losing their jobs, running out of money, or starting over from scratch. This fear is why most people seek stable jobs. Fear and greed create a cycle that traps us. We work harder to earn more money, but our expenses rise accordingly. Rich Dad refers to this as the rat race, a trap that we must avoid. Many who aspire to become wealthy fall prey to this cycle of fear and greed. The author points out that opportunities come to everyone. While the rich are able to recognize and seize them, the poor often fail to notice these chances because they are too preoccupied with pursuing money and security. The book highlights that money has the potential to work for us 24 hours a day. However, when we work for money, it primarily benefits our employers or the companies we work for. By putting money to work for us, we gain power and control over our financial future. Thus, instead of working for money, we should focus on making money work for us. If you truly want to be wealthy, the first step is to take responsibility for yourself. Ask yourself the tough questions because only you can answer them. Remove fear from your mind, as it is fear of earning less and greed that often push us to make hasty decisions, leading to failure. Don't allow fear and greed to dominate you. Think carefully before making any choices. Reflect daily on whether you're reaching your potential. Stop thinking like those who work solely for money. Rich Dad begins his first lesson by employing Robert and his friend Mike at a convenience store. Though they are not paid, they continue to work enthusiastically. During this time, their minds are sparked with fresh ideas. Rich Dad taught them to always observe how money is created. Once you learn to recognize opportunities, you'll be able to identify them throughout your life. One day, Robert and Mike noticed the store clerk, Mrs. Martin, tearing off the top halves of comic books. She saved these tops and discarded the rest. Later, a comic distributor would collect the top halves for credit and replace them with new comics. Robert and Mike asked the distributor if they could keep the discarded comics. The distributor agreed, provided they didn't sell them. The boys came up with the idea of renting out the old comics. They began charging their friends and other kids 10 cents for a 2-hour reading session, allowing them to read as many comics as they liked within that time. To run their small venture, they hired Mike's sister for $1 a week. Over the course of 3 months, they earned an average of $9.50 per week. Through this experience, they learned the valuable lesson of making money work for them. Lesson number 2, the importance of teaching financial knowledge. Robert shares a historical anecdote about a 1923 meeting held at the Edgewater Beach Hotel in Chicago. This gathering included influential leaders and wealthy businessmen such as Charles M. Schwab, a prominent steel magnate, and the head of the largest utility company of the time. Shockingly, within 25 years, many of these individuals faced tragic outcomes. Some died penniless, others took their own lives, and a few even lost their mental stability. The key takeaway is that while earning money is common, many fail to learn how to retain it. Regardless of your income level, the ability to preserve wealth is crucial. Mastering this skill equips you to tackle any challenge with ease. In this summary, you'll dive into a pivotal topic, financial education. Questions often arise about money, such as where and how to begin earning it, which books to read, the secrets to success, or strategies for making millions. Yet, people frequently focus solely on money, neglecting their most valuable asset, financial education. Believing that money alone will solve all problems leads to a future riddled with difficulties. Always remember that intelligence solves problems, and money is a result of that. Without a foundation in financial knowledge, even if you come into wealth, it's unlikely to stay with you. Many don't grasp that wealth isn't about how much money you make, but rather how much you keep. Stories abound of lottery winners who quickly squander their sudden riches or celebrities who once enjoyed immense wealth but ended their lives in poverty. The common thread is a lack of financial education. To truly build and sustain wealth, you must focus on how much you save and can pass down through generations. Financial literacy is an essential tool for becoming truly wealthy. Building wealth, a solid foundation is key. Imagine constructing a house with a 6-foot-deep foundation. It works for a modest home but not for a skyscraper, which requires a much deeper and sturdier base. Similarly, many people aim to build significant wealth on inadequate financial foundations. Our education system, rooted in an agricultural-era mindset, still relies on outdated methods, leaving students without essential financial knowledge. Accounting, often viewed as tedious and confusing, is actually the cornerstone for long-term financial success. The question is, how can we simplify this complex subject? The answer lies in understanding the distinction between assets and liabilities, and focusing on acquiring assets. The wealth rule: recognize assets and liabilities. The simplest yet most impactful principle for achieving wealth is discerning between assets and liabilities, and prioritizing the purchase of assets. Although this rule is easy to understand, its importance is often overlooked. Many remain in financial struggles because they fail to grasp this distinction. Assets generate income, putting money into your pocket, while liabilities drain your resources. To grow rich, make it a lifelong practice to invest in assets. Conversely, buying liabilities will keep you financially stagnant. This misunderstanding traps countless people in financial hardship throughout their lives. Understanding the concept of assets and liabilities. In most households, the financial narrative is similar: despite earning money, wealth eludes them. This isn't due to a lack of income but rather the habit of purchasing liabilities instead of assets. The key questions are: what should you do with the money you earn? How long should you hold on to it? How can you make it work for you? Knowing these answers demonstrates financial literacy. Unfortunately, many people are unaware of the root causes of their financial struggles because they don't understand cash flow. Cash flow management is critical. Even highly educated and professionally successful individuals often lack financial literacy, leading them to work harder without learning how to make money work for them. An illustrative story about assets and liabilities. A newlywed couple rents a small house, thinking they're saving money because their combined expenses are similar to living alone. However, the house feels cramped, and as they plan for a family, they start saving for their dream home. With dual incomes, they focus on advancing their careers. Their earnings increase, prompting them to buy their dream house, which introduces a significant new expense: property taxes. To furnish the home, they purchase a new car, furniture, and other items, believing them to be assets. In reality, these are liabilities, as they drain money rather than generate it. Over time, their liabilities grow, leaving them burdened with debts, including car loans and credit card bills. This cycle of spending leads them into the rat race. The never-ending debt cycle. After having a child, the couple receives a new credit card offer and starts using it. When they max out this card, a loan agent advises them to consolidate their high-interest credit card debt with a consumer loan, offering tax benefits on home loan interest. They follow this advice, clearing the card debt, but end up with a consumer loan instead. Eventually, this debt becomes part of a long-term mortgage, binding them for decades. Now, they live under the constant shadow of financial insecurity, worrying about job stability and how they'll manage their mortgage. The core issue lies not in how much they earn but in how they spend it. Their lack of financial literacy perpetuates their money problems. Stop digging the hole. If you feel stuck in a financial pit, the first step is to stop digging. Many people in lower and middle income brackets let money control their lives. They wake up early, work tirelessly, and rarely question whether this approach is sensible. Lacking financial understanding, they follow the crowd, imitating their neighbors' lifestyles, which often leads to financial distress. Ask yourself, is your financial approach wise? Instead of relying on external influences, tap into your internal wisdom. The golden rule for wealth. The most crucial rule for building wealth is understanding the distinction between assets and liabilities and consistently acquiring income-generating assets. At the same time, aim to reduce liabilities and control expenses. Lesson number 3, focus on your own business. In this chapter, the author highlights a key difference between wealthy individuals and those in the middle or lower financial classes. The rich concentrate on their assets, while others are more concerned with their income statements. In 1947, at the University of Texas, Ray Kroc, the man behind McDonald's, delivered a memorable lecture to an MBA class. His talk was deeply inspiring, and afterward, the students asked if he could join them for a beer, to which he agreed. During their discussion, Ray Kroc posed an intriguing question: "Do you know what business I'm in?" Initially, the students chuckled before one of them hesitantly replied, "Well, you're in the hamburger business, of course." At this, Kroc laughed and said, "I expected that response, but no, I'm not in the hamburger business. I'm in the real estate business." The essence of McDonald's success lies in its emphasis on land and location. Whenever someone purchases a McDonald's franchise, they're also required to buy the land. In essence, McDonald's operates as a real estate business. Today, McDonald's stands as one of the largest real estate owners in the world, with properties situated on some of the most valuable intersections and corners globally. This lesson was one that Rich Dad imparted to Robert, that most people spend their lives working for others rather than themselves. Rich Dad often emphasized, concentrate fully on your own business. Don't waste your life working to make others wealthy. The reality of most people's lives. The majority of people dedicate their lives to working for others. They work for the government by paying taxes and for their employers, often saving little to nothing for themselves. Our education system is structured to train individuals to secure good jobs. The field you study often determines your career. Studying cooking makes you a chef, studying law makes you a lawyer, and studying mathematics often leads to a career in engineering. The flaw in this system is that it doesn't teach students the difference between having a job and owning a business. Consequently, people spend their entire lives working to enrich others without building wealth for themselves. There's a critical distinction between a profession and personal business. Robert often illustrates this point by asking bankers, "What business are you in?" They typically respond, "I'm a banker." His follow-up question is, "Do you own the bank?" The answer is always no, revealing that they've confused their profession with owning a business. The author suggests that while maintaining your job, you should shift your focus toward your own business and start investing in real assets. Avoid purchasing liabilities or items that lose value, like new cars, which depreciate by about 25% the moment they leave the showroom. Such purchases are not real assets. Similarly, many possessions depreciate over time, diminishing their worth. What does it mean to own a business? A genuine business is one that operates independently of your physical presence. It is run by others, freeing you from daily involvement. If your presence is necessary for its functioning, then it's not a business, it's merely a job. Robert does not suggest quitting your job. Instead, he advises focusing on building and strengthening your asset column. Begin by concentrating on your business and avoiding liabilities or personal purchases that lose value quickly. The types of assets worth investing in. Robert emphasizes the importance of investing in assets that generate income, such as businesses that operate without needing your physical involvement and are managed by others. Stocks and bonds. Income-producing real estate. Royalties from intellectual properties, including music, scripts, patents, books, and similar items. Any valuable asset that generates revenue and appreciates over time. This doesn't mean luxury items should be avoided entirely, but Robert points out that wealthy individuals prioritize acquiring luxury items only after securing assets, unlike the poor and middle class who tend to purchase them first. With this perspective, you're now ready to uncover the greatest secret of the wealthy, the principle that sets them apart from everyone else. Lesson number 4, the evolution of taxes and the role of corporations. Taxes were initially introduced as a means to target the wealthy. The idea was that those with higher incomes would pay a portion of their earnings to the government as a kind of penalty. Over time, however, taxes began to apply to those who had originally supported them, specifically, the poor and middle classes. While many believe that the rich shoulder the greatest tax burden, the truth is quite the opposite. Today, it's the middle class that pays the highest taxes, while the wealthy often pay the least. This is because rich individuals are well-versed in tax laws and regulations. They either acquire this knowledge themselves or employ professionals to navigate the system on their behalf. What is a corporation? A corporation is essentially a legal framework, a document that creates a distinct legal entity. It's not a physical object, a factory, or even a group of people. However, corporations enjoy lower tax rates compared to individuals. Additionally, they can deduct certain expenses before taxes are calculated. This is why wealthy individuals channel their money into corporations, leveraging the advantages these entities offer to minimize their tax obligations. The tax strategies of the rich versus the middle class. Here's how the rich, particularly those who own large corporations, manage their finances. 1. They generate income or profits. 2. They spend money on expenses. 3. They pay taxes on what remains. On the other hand, this is the typical pattern for middle-class individuals. 1. They earn income. 2. They pay taxes up front. 3. They spend whatever is left. The author underscores that if you aspire to build wealth, it's essential to understand your country's tax system and explore innovative methods to reduce your tax liabilities. Lesson number 5, Wealthy People Create Wealth. This story starts with Alexander Graham Bell, who invented and patented the telephone. With a surge in demand for his groundbreaking invention, Bell struggled to handle the complexities of managing such a vast enterprise. He eventually approached Western Union, a leading company of the time, offering to sell his patent and small business for $100,000. The president of Western Union dismissed him, considering the price excessive, and declined. The result? AT&T, a multi-billion-dollar company, emerged from this innovation. Since 1984, Robert has been teaching professionally, and after educating thousands, he recognized a universal trait among people: potential. Everyone possesses a unique potential that can make them extraordinary. However, self-doubt often becomes a significant barrier. Many of you may already know that after completing your education, degrees and grades lose much of their relevance. In the real world, it's not intelligence alone but courage that drives success. According to Robert, developing financial talent demands both technical expertise and bravery. Most people shy away from taking financial risks, but to achieve wealth, risk-taking is essential. You must decide who you want to be and work on improving your financial IQ. Doing so can lead to significant achievements, while neglecting it might make the future even more daunting. Robert observes that even today, many individuals work hard yet struggle because they cling to outdated ideas. They attribute losing their jobs or homes to technology, the economy, or their bosses, without realizing they are often the root cause of their challenges. To address this, Robert developed a game called Cash Flow to teach the principles of money, investing, and wealth building. Through this game, he explains these concepts in an engaging way. One day, a woman, disappointed by a missed opportunity, approached Robert. Early in the game, she received a boat card, signifying she had won a boat. Initially thrilled, she became upset upon discovering the taxes she'd need to pay to claim it. Rather than seeing it as an asset, she perceived the boat as a financial burden, fearing it could ruin her. Misunderstanding the game, she demanded a refund. Later, she called back, having realized how the game mirrored real-life lessons and began to understand its value. This reaction is common. When faced with the unfamiliar, people often get frustrated. That's why it's crucial to strive for understanding. Many players excel at accumulating wealth in the game but fail to manage it, just as some wealthy individuals in real life lack financial strength. After years of teaching, Robert found that while everyone has potential, self-doubt frequently holds them back. Some people encounter the right opportunities yet fail to seize them, often citing a lack of money. Others possess both resources and opportunities but fail to recognize them. Financial intelligence involves exploring more options. If opportunities seem scarce, consider how you can enhance your financial situation. For instance, if a lucrative opportunity arises and the bank refuses to lend you money, how can you capitalize on it? The answer lies in financial intelligence. Many people believe that hard work, earning more, and taking loans are the only solutions. To create your own fortune, don't wait for opportunities to come to you, learn to create them. Waiting for perfect conditions could mean waiting indefinitely. Wealthy individuals understand that money itself isn't tangible. The real power lies in the mind, your greatest asset. Developing financial intelligence is key. Robert illustrates this with a simple example of generating wealth. In the early 1990s, during an economic downturn in Phoenix and Arizona, people were advised to save $100 monthly. While saving consistently is sound advice, Robert believed investing part of that money could yield greater returns. The financial struggles in Phoenix and Arizona forced many to sell properties at exceptionally low prices. For savvy investors, this was an incredible opportunity. Robert bought a $75,000 house for just $20,000. Advertising the property at an attorney's office soon attracted buyers, and he sold the house for $60,000, netting a $40,000 profit in just 5 hours. Now, consider this: is it harder to work tirelessly, lose 50% of your income to taxes, save what's left, and earn 5% interest on those savings, also taxed, or to enhance your financial intelligence and leverage your mind and resources? If you prefer the former, calculate how long it would take to earn $40,000. Time is among your most valuable assets. This is why investing in your mind and financial intelligence is the better choice. To become a successful investor, you need to master 3 critical skills. 1. Identify opportunities others overlook. Train your mind to perceive what others miss. 2. Raise capital. While most rely on banks, skilled investors know how to gather funds through alternative methods. 3. Surround yourself with smart individuals. Wise people enlist advisors more knowledgeable than themselves. Always choose your counsel carefully when seeking advice. Lesson number 6, learn for growth, not just money. Robert recounts a conversation he had during an interview in Singapore with a female journalist. She expressed her dream of becoming a best-selling author, much like Robert himself. Robert had come across some of her articles before and found them to be clear, impactful, and engaging. Her writing had the ability to captivate its audience. The journalist revealed that, although her novels were appreciated by readers, she had not found much success. Seeking guidance, she asked Robert what she could do to achieve her aspirations. Robert inquired, "What's holding you back from realizing your dreams?" To this, the journalist replied, "My hard work doesn't seem to be paying off." In response, Robert suggested that she take a sales training course. This advice frustrated her, and she responded indignantly, "I'm a professional writer with a master's degree in English literature. Why would I need to learn about sales?" Robert elaborates that the world is brimming with intelligent, educated, and talented people. We encounter them every day. However, the critical takeaway is that talent by itself does not generate wealth. If you don't know how to apply your talent effectively, it remains underutilized. Acquiring skills in sales and marketing is something many people find difficult, mainly because of their fear of rejection. Nevertheless, these skills are essential for success. One significant distinction between the rich dad and the poor dad lies here. The poor dad was always preoccupied with finding job security, which he considered paramount. On the other hand, the rich dad placed learning and self-improvement above all else. To achieve wealth, extensive learning is essential, as these lessons are thoughtfully detailed in the synopsis of Rich Dad Poor Dad. Lesson number 7, conquering challenges. Robert emphasizes that even with a solid understanding of money, various obstacles can block your path to financial freedom. He identifies 5 key reasons why individuals, despite being financially knowledgeable, fail to grow their asset columns significantly. Addressing these barriers is essential, and they include fear. Robert mentions that he's yet to meet anyone who enjoys losing money. At the same time, he hasn't encountered a wealthy individual who hasn't experienced financial losses. On the contrary, he has come across many people who have never lost a single rupee in investments, because they've never invested at all. Fear of losing money is universal, but the challenge lies not in the fear itself but in how you confront it and respond after experiencing a loss. How do you interpret failure? For winners, failure becomes a driving force, while for losers, it shatters their confidence. This difference in handling fear distinguishes the wealthy from the poor. Many people fail to build wealth because their fear of losing money outweighs their excitement about achieving financial success. If you're over 25 and still reluctant to take risks, it's time to reconsider. While caution has its place, the earlier you begin, the better. Overcoming pessimism. You may recall the tale of the little chicken warning everyone about looming disaster. Doubts like these exist in all of us and can paralyze our actions. We often play the "what if" game. What if this investment fails? What if things don't go as planned? Such doubts frighten us to the point where we never start, causing us to miss out on incredible opportunities. It's essential to set these doubts aside and move forward. Conquering laziness. Ironically, the busiest people are sometimes the laziest. Consider this story. A businessman dedicated himself to earning money, staying late at the office and working through weekends. One day, he returned home to find the house empty, his wife had left with their children. While he was aware of the strained relationship, he chose to focus on work instead of resolving the issues. After his family left, he became disheartened, neglected his job, and eventually lost it. Overly busy individuals often focus all their energy on one aspect of life, losing everything else in the process. How can you overcome laziness? The solution lies in healthy greed. Ask yourself, what would my life look like if I never had to work again? A touch of greed can motivate you to strive for more, but remember, excess in anything, even greed, is detrimental. Breaking bad habits. Your habits hold more significance than your education. When you compare two people, you'll often notice stark differences in their habits. Robert advises paying yourself first, which strengthens you financially, mentally, and economically. This means setting aside money for savings and investments as soon as you receive income, even before covering expenses. If you aspire to be wealthy, adopt this habit regardless of your financial status. Paying yourself first has two advantages. Your asset column will grow steadily over time. You'll be in a better position to capitalize on other income opportunities. Addressing arrogance. As Rich Dad often said, I earn from what I know, and I lose from what I don't know. Many people use arrogance to cover up their lack of knowledge. While it's impossible to know everything, replacing arrogance with curiosity and learning can help you succeed. The critical lessons from Rich Dad Poor Dad include: in life, courage, not cleverness, determines progress. Great opportunities aren't visible to the eyes but perceived through the mind. Many fail financially because their fear of losing outweighs the thrill of success. For winners, failure is a motivator; for losers, it's a spirit breaker. Anyone who wishes to take charge of their financial future should begin by reading Rich Dad Poor Dad. Friends, how did you find this audio summary? Share your thoughts in the comments. If you have any questions or suggestions, drop them below, and we'll do our best to address them. That's it for this video. Don't forget to comment on this summary and subscribe to our YouTube channel for the latest videos. Thank you for watching.